The August sun set the sky above Sunset Valley ablaze with oranges and pinks, as if the heavens themselves were twisting clouds into balloon animals for the town's annual summer spectacular. Beneath the sherbet-coloured canopy, the community park thrummed with anticipation. Folding tables overflowed with deflated balloons in every shade imaginable: cherry, plum, mint, tangerine, while children practiced beginner poodles that looked more like mutant worms. At the centre of it all stood the main attraction: Sunset Valley's attempt to break the world record for most balloon animals created in 1 hour. At exactly 6 o'clock, Mandy Poppins, organizer, MC, and local craft store legend, blew her silver whistle. "Let's make history," she cried, tossing a bundle of neon 260 Qs into the air like confetti. Hundreds of volunteers snatched balloons, pumped furiously, and squeaked rubber together in manic harmony. A scoreboard kept count. Camera crews hovered. Mayor Halbert slapped an oversized digital timer, everything inflated with possibility. 2 minutes in, a shriek cut through the cacophony. Jojo Bloom, clown college dropout turned reluctant face painter, had just finished airbrushing pirate eyebrows on a 7-year-old when the scream sent a ripple through the crowd. Balloons slipped from fingers, hissed, and spiraled away. Children gasped. Someone yelled, "Call 911." Another shouted, "Don't pop the Dachshund," which made little sense in the moment. The scream had come from behind the judging tent, where Mandy kept her private stash of specialty balloons and her lucky rainbow pump. Jojo elbowed through a thicket of stilt walkers and found themselves staring at a nightmare tableau. Mandy Poppins slumped against a plastic cooler, eyes wide, face turning an indelicate shade of lavender. Around her neck coiled a glossy scarlet balloon twisted into the unmistakable shape of a tiny dog. Its elongated leash looped twice around her throat, the knot cinched tight at the collar. One of the dog's balloon ears lay burst beside her shoulder, a shriveled strip of latex drooping like a wilted petal. Mandy Poppins, the beating heart of Sunset Valley's balloon scene, had been strangled by a balloon animal. An hour later, the park was cordoned off with yellow tape and grim faces. The world record attempt deflated, literally and figuratively, leaving stunned volunteers clutching half-finished giraffes. Police Chief Wiley Dobbs stood beneath the dimming sky, hat in hand, as paramedics zipped Mandy into a body bag. Jojo, face still speckled with turquoise paint, felt the chill of something colder than dusk. They'd known Mandy since childhood. She'd been mentor, supplier, and occasional gossip partner. That Mandy could be murdered, here in broad daylight under a banner proclaiming "Sunset Valley where dreams take shape," seemed obscene. Chief Dobbs called the crowd together. "Folks, this is an active crime scene. Nobody leaves until we've taken statements. If you saw anything unusual, report to Officer Melendez at the gazebo." Jojo watched the volunteers shuffle, confusion turning the festive park into a twilight purgatory of half-inflated fantasies. Somewhere beyond the oak trees, a lone balloon popped, echoing like distant gunfire. A voice beside Jojo whispered, "Hard to believe someone weaponized a poodle." Jojo turned to find Rick Wrists Delgado, Sunset Valley's fastest balloon twister, and Mandy's perennial rival. He wore his trademark fingerless gloves and a smirk that never quite reached his eyes. "Not a poodle," Jojo corrected automatically. "Looked more like a mini dachshund, 3-bubble body." Rick shrugged. Whatever it was, poor Mandy. Though I suppose that's one way to choke under pressure. Jojo narrowed their eyes. Rick had always desired the spotlight Mandy commanded. Winning today would have put him on the regional news. Motive? Maybe. Opportunity? Definitely. He'd been at table A, twisting non-stop mere yards from the judging tent. Another suspect sauntered past. Councilwoman Edna Crick, head of the events funding committee, cheeks flushed under pearls too tight for her neck. Jojo couldn't forget the heated argument Edna and Mandy had last week at Town Hall over balloon budget overruns. Nor could anyone ignore the fact that Edna's new re-election slogan included the phrase, "burst the old guard," which in hindsight felt ominous. Gus Grunwald, vendor of foot-long corn dogs, paced with greasy hands shaking. "This'll ruin me," he muttered. "Who wants to eat when someone's strangled 2 stands over?" A final face lingered in Jojo's mind. Poppy Pearls, Jojo's ex-roommate from the Regional Institute of Circus Arts. Poppy had dropped into town unannounced 3 days ago, bragging about a shiny contract with Mirage Casino in Vegas. If only she could snag some serious footage to impress her agent. Mandy had refused Poppy's request to film backstage proprietary balloon techniques. Yesterday, Poppy threatened to blow up the whole scene. Another ominous phrase. As the moon rose, Jojo realized something terrifying. Chief Dobbs considered them a suspect, too. Dobbs had pointed out the smears of face paint on Jojo's sleeve, turquoise exactly like the smudge on Mandy's wrist. Jojo tried explaining they had brushed past while handing Mandy a coffee earlier, but Dobbs wrote it down with grim neutrality. And so, while officers bagged evidence, shards of burst balloon, a rainbow hand pump, a stray length of fishing line, Jojo made a decision. If they didn't solve Mandy's murder, the cops might decide it was easiest to blame the dropout clown, who knew knots and had turquoise paint everywhere. Time to juggle some suspects. The following morning, Jojo arrived at Sunset Valley Police Headquarters, armed with a box of donuts iced to resemble balloon animals. Sugar bribery opened doors. Officer Melendez waved them straight to Chief Dobbs's office. Dobbs peered up from a mountain of paperwork. "I came to help," Jojo announced, setting down the box. "You've got buttercream poodles at 2 o'clock. Dobbs's eyebrow climbed. "Help how? By contaminating more evidence with frosting." Jojo took a breath. "Look, I know balloons. I know balloon people. If you want to understand who could weaponize latex dachshunds, you need a guide." Dobbs considered, then sighed. "Fine, you find me something concrete, Ms. Bloom, I'll listen. But no vigilante nonsense." Jojo nodded, grabbed 2 crullers for the road, and began their unofficial investigation. First stop, Rick Delgado's workshop, a converted garage behind the strip mall. The door was propped open, revealing a chaos of pumps, compressors, and half-inflated prototype sculptures, dragons, houses, even a life-size motorcycle. Rick sat at a workbench fiddling with a motorized inflator. "Jojo," he greeted without warmth. "Come to gloat that I lost my shot at the record." "I'm here about Mandy," Jojo replied. "Did you see anything yesterday?" Rick's jaw flexed. "Just Mandy doing what she always does, stealing my thunder." Jojo scanned the room. The place smelled of rubber and machine oil. On the wall hung a pegboard of specialized balloon nozzles, including several designed to inflate 2 balloons simultaneously. Efficiency, ambition, and there, on the floor, a crumpled heap of scarlet balloons identical to the murder weapon. Jojo pointed. "Practicing dachshunds?" Rick smirked. "Everyone loves a classic." "But you hate classics," Jojo pressed. "You do avant-garde alien monkeys." Rick's eyes flicked toward the heap, then back. "Those were for a kiddie party. Ask my assistant, he ordered them." Jojo inched closer. Among the scarlet coils lay a pair of broken knitting needles. Weird. Why would a balloon twister need needles? pop them, sew them. They snapped a quick photo, bade Rick goodbye, and promised to be in touch. Second stop, Councilwoman Edna Crick's office at Town Hall. The door was closed, but Jojo could hear raised voices. They eased against the wall. "Told you the event would be a circus," Edna snapped. "Now taxpayers blame me for balloon murder," another voice mumbled. Edna continued. "Find me that missing invoice. We need to prove Mandy misused funds." Missing invoice. Interesting. Jojo knocked politely. Edna opened, makeup cracked, pearls trembling. "What do you want?" "I'm volunteering with the investigation," Jojo lied. "Any idea who might have wanted Mandy silenced?" Edna sniffed. "You mean besides every vendor she stiffed? Mandy had champagne ideas and tinsel budgets. Maybe one of those carny types snapped." Jojo scanned the office. On Edna's walnut desk sat a letter opener shaped like a miniature sword, sharp enough to pop a balloon from yards away. But the murder weapon had been a balloon itself. Still, violence lurked in unexpected places. "Did you ever threaten Mandy?" Jojo asked. Edna's gaze chilled. "Threaten? I'm an elected official, dear. I use strongly worded memos, not threats." Official or not, Jojo sensed venom. They thanked Edna and left. Third stop, Gus's corndog cart, parked forlornly outside the shuttered park gates. Gus hunched over a vat of oil he hadn't bothered to heat, muttering about refunds. "Gus," Jojo said gently, "you worked closest to the judging tent. Anything unusual?" He rubbed greasy hands on a plaid apron. "Besides balloons squeaking like a plague of rubber mice? Saw Poppy Pearls sneaking around back before the scream. Figured she was filming footage." "Poppy? You're sure?" "Pink hair, big camera, can't miss her." He pointed a mustard-stained finger toward a dumpster behind the stage. "She came from there, stuffing something in." Jojo jogged over. The dumpster stank of funnel cake sugar and latex. Inside, buried beneath cardboard, lay 3 items: a popped balloon dog head, a spool of fishing line, and a small digital video camera, battery dead, lens cracked. Jojo pocketed the camera and stepped back, pulse racing. Fishing line. Same as the piece Chief Dobbs bagged yesterday. Did someone rig the balloon leash with line to tighten remotely? An elegant murder. Innocuous toy transforms into garrote with one pull. Poppy instantly rose to top suspect. Fourth stop, Poppy's rental cabin on Lake Lurid, an unfortunate name from pioneer days. Jojo arrived at twilight. A purple jeep sat out front. They knocked, no answer. Around back, a sliding glass door was ajar. Inside the cabin, Poppy paced in a swirl of pink hair, talking into a Bluetooth headset. "Listen, Travis, the footage is useless. Camera busted." She paused, listening. "No, I can't reshoot. The event's cancelled on account of homicide." Another pause. "Yes, actual homicide. Can you believe my luck?" Jojo cleared their throat. Poppy whirled. "George, don't sneak." They lifted the broken camera. "Lose something," Poppy sighed. "I dropped it while running to the scream. Freak accident. Why are you playing Columbo?" "Because the police think I might have done it," Jojo replied, "and Gus says he saw you near the tent." Poppy rolled her eyes. "I was chasing B-roll, okay? Mandy kept blocking my access." "Why dump the camera?" "Because it cracked, obviously." She folded arms. "Look, Mandy and I had words, but I wouldn't strangle her with a balloon dog. I love irony, but not that much." Jojo studied her. Poppy had been dramatic in school, but murder, hard to picture. Yet the fishing line in the dumpster begged explanation. "Did you notice anyone else backstage?" Jojo asked. Poppy hesitated. "Yeah, Edna Crick. She was rooting through Mandy's files 10 minutes before the scream. When she saw me, she shoved something in her briefcase. Then she bolted. Interesting. Invoice theft, perhaps. Jojo left Poppy with a stern warning to stay available and returned to headquarters. Chief Dobbs begrudgingly invited them in. "What have you got?" he asked. Jojo laid out the pieces: Rick's suspicious balloon stash and needles, Edna's financial motive and missing invoice, Poppy's proximity and broken camera, Gus's statement and the fishing line. Dobbs leaned back. "I also have lab results," he said, sliding over a folder. "Residue of talcum powder on the balloon leash. People use powder so balloons glide while twisting. But get this. Also traces of machine oil, the same blend used in high-speed inflators." Jojo's mind flashed to Rick's workshop, hoses slick with oil. "Rick Delgado," Jojo whispered. "Maybe," Dobbs said, "but we need proof." Jojo tapped the folder. If Rick used an inflator, the oil could transfer, but the leash tightened with fishing line. Rick's workbench had no such line. Poppy's dumpster did. "Maybe Poppy planted line after Rick made the dog," Dobbs suggested. "Joint effort?" Jojo shook their head. "Too convoluted. We're missing something." They excused themselves and walked the quiet streets, replaying every scene. Balloon dog, oil, powder, line, knitting needles. Needles. Why needles? Balloon artists never puncture their creations. Unless a realization popped like thunder. Jojo ran to the community center, where confiscated evidence waited in sealed bins. They requested permission to re-examine the balloon dog weapon. Officer Melendez obliged under Dobbs's order. Jojo snapped on gloves and lifted the leathery strand. Within the dog's body, they felt something rigid. Carefully, they sliced the balloon. Out slid a wooden knitting needle, tip sharpened to a point, its surface slick with oil. Jojo's pulse raced. The needle must have been inserted inside the balloon before inflation. Once air filled the balloon, the needle remained hidden, yet its weight and rigidity turned the soft leash into a lethal garrote capable of maintaining tension. Oil eased the balloon around it to prevent premature popping. Genius and diabolical. Needles, oil, Rick Delgado. But Rick needed motive beyond rivalry. Jojo revisited Mandy's emails. They'd kept her log in to order supplies. In the sent folder yesterday morning, Rick, cease and desist or face lawsuit for patent infringement. My pending design for the balloon knot bot is proprietary. Attached, photos of an automated inflator that could twist basic shapes. If Mandy patented it, Rick's high-speed production rigs would be worthless. Motive? Massive. Armed with evidence, Jojo returned to Rick's workshop at dawn. The garage door gaped. Inside, Rick hurriedly loaded boxes into a van. "Going somewhere?" Jojo asked. Rick stiffened. "Early gig in Cedar Falls." Jojo stepped closer. "Packing knitting needles too?" Rick's eyes flickered to the workbench where needles lay. Jojo pressed on. Oil-coated, hidden inside balloons. Ingenious. You wrap a leash, attach fishing line, tug from a distance. The needle keeps tension. Mandy never stood a chance. Rick's face hardened. "You can't prove that." "Actually," Jojo said, brandishing a plastic bag with the needle retrieved from the weapon, "I can. Same brand, same wood grain. Lab will match oil to your inflator." Rick's bravado deflated. "She was going to ruin me," he muttered. "All my life I've trained these wrists." Then she builds a robot, says she'll debut it at the record attempt. A machine making balloon animals? What does that leave for artists? "So you killed her." "I liberated artistry," he hissed. Police cruisers screeched outside. Dobbs marched in, officers cuffing Rick before he could reach for anything else. As they hauled him away, Jojo exhaled, tension leaking like air from a pin-pricked swan. Sunset Valley awoke to headlines blaring, "Balloon-T Strangler busted, record attempt re-inflated." Mayor Halbert rescheduled the event for next month, dedicating it to Mandy's memory. Donations poured in for a scholarship fund. The Poppins Award for Creative Inflative Arts. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Chief Dobbs pulled Jojo aside. "You did good. Have you ever considered detective work?" Jojo laughed. "I flunked out of clown college, remember?" Dobbs shrugged. Plenty of detectives wore funny shoes first. Across the field, kids lined up at Jojo's new booth. Bloom's Balloon Basics, learn to twist your story. They'd decided to honor Mandy by teaching the joy, not chasing records. Poppy filmed a promo spot, redeemed. Edna Crick grudgingly approved a grant for free classes. As the orange glow of evening settled over Sunset Valley again, Jojo twisted a simple dachshund, 3 bubbles, classic. They handed it to a giggling toddler, who tugged the leash and watched the balloon dog bob merrily in the breeze, harmless as a dream. For Jojo Bloom, that was the real record worth keeping. One town's faith, re-inflated.